Hello. All right, so I think we're live. Just gonna pop in here, do a little preliminary work here. Make sure everything's going good, that kind of thing. And then we're gonna get started. Hope everybody's doing well. Hello to everyone. Hold on just a second. I'm gonna mute this so I can check my volume. Work here. Make sure everything's going good, that kind of thing. And then we're gonna get started. Cool, yeah, everything seems to be going good. Sharing to some groups. So we're going to do things a little differently. If you guys tuned in to our last lives, it's just going to be me. So that's okay, because this isn't going to be a typical one anyway. So if you guys got any groups or anywhere you could possibly share. Hey, Jamie, what's up? How are you? How's Alaska? Just waiting for some people to pop in. We got 6 so far. Pop in, say hey. So I know who's here. I see Jamie's here, which is cool. I'm just sharing to some groups right now to get some people in that I know might be into this. There we go. All right, cool. All right, so just a little bit, if you guys have been following the campaign, which, oh wow, okay, congrats. That's good. I'm assuming you're going to be working in a store. But yeah, if you guys have been following the campaign, you guys know we made it. We hit the campaign and we passed the campaign, which is absolutely fantastic. I can't say enough about that. I mean, that's great. That's why this video update is going to be a lot different than the other video updates that we've did. Because, I am happy that we met everything, which is great. So just sharing these. But yeah, we're really today, I think I'm just gonna talk about why I'm doing this documentary. And what I mean by that is just, like why I like mom and pop stores, some of the memories I have. I'd really like you guys to pop in here, and say, hey, what's up, Caleb? I'd really like you guys to pop in here and share your experiences and stuff with mom and pop stores. If you guys are just jumping in and you don't really know what the term mom and pop stores or mom and pop video stores mean, it's just basically those little, owned by mom and pop, quote unquote, video stores that were real popular in the 80s, 90s, kind of started to die out in the 2000s. You would go into a grocery store, you would go into a gas station, a lot of them were tanning salons, and they would rent videos. And a lot of you guys saw the documentary on the last Blockbuster, and had some nostalgia from that. Well, I mean, I watched it and I enjoyed it, but I wasn't really a Blockbuster guy. I went to the mom and pop video stores. I went to ones, I live in North Carolina, so some of the ones that I went to were, there's a town called Lincoln, North Carolina. One of my favorite video stores I ever went to was one called Mega Video. That was in Lincoln, North Carolina. If anybody watching is from North Carolina or in Lincoln, North Carolina, remembers that, it was one of my favorite ones. I rented so many tapes from there that, really set up what I like now. I remember renting Elves from there. Funny story about that. When I was about 12 years old, I had a friend come spend the night, and we, the typical thing, if you grew up in the 90s and, you had a friend come over and spend the night, you went and rented a video game and you rented a couple scary movies, So I remember going in, I remember specifically we rented Mortal Kombat 4 for Nintendo 64. And we were going to go pick a horror movie out. So we were looking around, and I remember I seen the cover for Elves. And I looked at the back, and you can see the puppets on the back. And as a kid, I guess I was probably about 12. It just seemed terrifying. Like the cover art and the back of the box just seemed terrifying. So we rented Mortal Kombat 4 and we rented Elves. We got back and we played Nintendo 64 for hours. And After playing that for like hours and hours, we're like, all right, cool. It's like midnight, 1 o'clock. That's when, you know, if you're having a sleepover with your friend, you start to like, okay, let's watch some scary movies, you know? So I remember my buddy was just taking his time, you know, and I was kind of taking my time too. And I thought in my head, like, I wonder if he's scared to watch this movie. Because I was as well. I was like super nervous to watch the movie. I was scared because the box art freaked me out so bad. So I just looked at him and I said, like, hey man, are you nervous to watch this movie? And he said, yeah, are you? And I was like, yeah, I'm nervous. So we decided we were just going to watch it the next morning when we woke up because we were too scared. But the next morning we watched it, and if you've seen Elves, it's honestly nothing to be scared about at all. So we kind of felt like, you know, felt kind of lame, you know, being scared about that. But, you know, that was something that, you know, being 12 years old, when you're having that memory or you're having that experience, you don't think that, hey, I'm going to remember this when I get older. You know, you're just, it's like this thing, that saying people say where they're like, you're living the best moments of your life and you don't realize it. And I really believe that, because a lot of the memories that I remember being like great as a kid, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do too, were memories that when you were living them, they didn't seem anything out of the ordinary or anything insane. And that's why I kind of, you know, try to appreciate everything now, because when I was growing up, I didn't appreciate those times to the video store and stuff like that. Caleb, same experience with urban legends. Hey, dude, I mean, that's one of the reasons I am making this documentary, because I have like all these like vivid memories of video stores and having some of the best times of my life. And then I'll tell, you know, similar experiences or stories to some of my friends, and they'll be like, wow, I kind of had that same story, but with this twist. And I thought, man, so many people had similar experiences and like remember them. I was like, we need to make a documentary about this. And when I seen that documentary for the last Blockbuster, man, I'm not going to say it made me mad, but it kind of bothered me, because there were so many people riding this nostalgia train of Blockbuster. And I mean, if you're on the nostalgia train of Blockbuster, hey, have a great time. I'm not putting you down for that. I just know myself and a lot of other people didn't go to Blockbuster. And like, I feel bad, because these little mom and pop stores that they weren't in it for necessarily like anything big, like to make a company about it. They just threw tapes out there to make a little bit of extra money. But little did they know that those experiences and those tapes they put out that they thought they were just renting just because it was part of their business would go and influence myself and like many others, like Caleb. I know Caleb has a podcast, and I almost guarantee you, he don't even have to tell me, please do if you want to, but I guarantee you those trips to the video store helped influence him to even start that podcast, to be, you know, into this community and this love of horror. And that's a little side note. It's not just about horror. Yeah, horror was big on me, but I mean, we all rented other tapes. I know there's like a lot of gatekeeping in the VHS and video store community. If you post a common tape, or you talk about what being, you know, a popular movie or something that's not some obscure horror movie, you know, people kind of look down on you sometimes, but it's not like that, man. Some of the biggest tapes that I rented when I was a kid, and a lot of my friends rented, were like E.T. and The Goonies and Mighty Ducks and Jurassic Park and stuff like that, and like had an absolute blast with them. But, you know, watching the last Blockbuster, to kind of circle back around, I really felt bad, because Blockbuster just wasn't a big part of my life and a big part of my friends' lives. And I saw all these people talking about how they loved Blockbuster, this huge corporate entity that, let's be real, the people that worked inside the Blockbuster stores, there were probably a bunch of them that loved their job and cared about, you know, what they were doing. But the corporate entity of Blockbuster, they didn't care. Like, let's be real, they didn't really care about the experiences you had and stuff like that. But I know personally firsthand that a lot of the mom and pop stores that I frequented, the owners were the people working behind the counter, and they loved doing it. And I just felt bad that they weren't getting that credit. You know, we're talking about memories and experiences. Please pop in there in the comments and, you know, tell some of your stories, and we'll talk about them. But one video store that probably was one of the most influential, and if not the most influential, but the most regular one that I would go to. Let me see. I'm going to share this to the mom and pop thing. I didn't even share it. Caleb, thank you for the share. But one of the most like regularly visited video stores that I went to was literally less than a mile from my house. It was an old school like convenience store called Cat Square Superette in Vail, North Carolina. I know a lot of my friends on here know exactly what I'm talking about. They were like that local store that's like a convenience store / grocery store. So we lived out in the country. There was no grocery stores really around. So you would pop in there, you know, and they were like a full-fledged grocery store, but they'd have like bread and, you know, drinks and, you know, I think they had some, you know, meat and frozen stuff there, but nothing like a crazy grocery store. But it was like a convenience store / little community grocery store, I guess you could say. And they had a wall of tape. So you would walk in, and it's crazy that I remember this because this is 20 years ago or more. But you would walk in, and as soon as you walk in, the register is like right there. But if you curve to the right, that first aisle you go down, when you look to your left, there would just be a wall. And, you know, I was a kid, so the wall seemed really high. It might not have been high, but there was probably 5 or 6 shelves of the tapes. And they would have, it was a wooden rack that obviously somebody there built. It wasn't like a metal rack or a mass-produced rack. It was a wooden, it was like 5 wooden shelves. And they would have the boxes of the VHS there. And just the boxes, so no tape or anything. The tapes were in clear clamshells behind the register if you went back there. But the way you would rent a movie, some of the ones I remembered were like Pumpkinhead was up there and stuff. And underneath the box of Pumpkinhead, on the actual wooden shelf itself, there would be a nail hammered in to the shelf. And there would be like with the little round circle tags with the little metal like keychain. And it was on the hook or on the nail. So you would take that number or that tag off of the nail and you would take it up there. And when you got up there, they did not have any kind of computer system or anything like that. All they had was, if you remember, those little notepads that people would write down, like if you went to a restaurant, like a diner or something, they'd have like your order. You write your order down and you pin it up on the thing that turns, if that makes any sense. They had a pad of that. They would write your name down, they would write your phone number down, and they would write down the number of the movie, like the number that was on that tag. That was it. I mean, they really didn't keep up with late fees. I mean, there was no, you didn't have to show your driver's license or anything like that. But like 99% of the people, I'm sure, that went in there were just local people. I remember that store I rented from so many times that I would call up there, and I'd rent Super Nintendo games from there too. But I'd rent a game, and then I got to know them all, and I mean, I'll shout their names out. It was owned by Carolyn Canipe, Harold Canipe, and I'm sorry if anybody hears this and doesn't like their name being said. I apologize if so, but they're not the owners anymore. They've sold out, and there's like a corporate gas station that's kind of went in and renovated it, and it's a bummer. But I went to, that was literally the exact explanation or definition of mom and pop, because they were both a mom and pop, and they owned this grocery store. It was not a corporate entity. It was them, and they rented tapes. It was literally the exact definition of mom and pop. Their daughter went to school with me. She was like a year older than me, went to high school with me. So like, it was like a family thing. And their last name is the same as mine, but we weren't related. But it was just like a family thing. And like, that's the kind of stores that I rented from. A lot of times you would see movies in these stores that you didn't see in Blockbuster, Movie Gallery, Family Video, Hollywood Video. Because with them being corporate entities and large entities, they had to follow somewhat of a kind of more strict set of rules. They couldn't have extremely gory, violent covers on the front. A lot of times they couldn't have adult films, for example. Because they had to follow that guideline of, you know, hey, we kind of have to appease the public here. We can't just do what we want to do. But then with mom and pop, they could do anything they wanted to do. There was a video store in Lincoln, North Carolina called Village Video that was absolutely incredibly amazing for multiple reasons. So it was 2 storefronts, and they were small, but they had 2 doors. If you went in the right door, there was a tanning salon. If you went in the left door, there was a video store. So the middle wall out of the 2 units was just one big register. So the one person working behind the register would flip over here and handle the tanning, and then flip over here and check out the video. So they kind of did both. So they were Village Video and tanning. And when you went in on the video store, they had like, or the video store side, they'd have like their shelves and stuff. But at the back, for some reason, I have no idea other than they just thought it was a good idea, which it kind of was, I guess. If you know those wooden play sets that are playgrounds that they put in like backyards, like wooden backyards in people's houses, they're all made out of wood with the swing set and the slide and stuff, like the jungle gym play set type thing. They had one of those in there in the back so kids could slide and swing on swings and play and stuff like that. And I'll never forget that. But you would go in, and on the right there was the door. Everybody knows the door, or the room, which was the adult room. You know, they would have, I think it was like a beaded curtain in this one. And, you know, me and my friends, we would take turns like running in, look as fast as we can, look around real fast, and run back out and try to remember it. But we would do that. But what was cool about this one is, with it being a mom and pop independent style store, they had extremely now rare, hard to find VHS. That was the first place I went that I saw 555. I saw Lunch Meat. I saw Cannibal Campout. And those were like ones that had very gory, violent covers. So they would actually put those in the room with the adult videos. So if you were like a kid walking through the horror section, you'd see your regular horror, but you wouldn't see like 555, Lunch Meat, Cannibal Campout, stuff like that. Or Body Shop, you know, things like that. I never knew that existed until I popped in and looked around, and, you know, of course you saw the big box pornographic films, but like I looked and I saw Lunch Meat and I saw 555. I was like, what are those, you know? So I got in my head that I'm going to get that. I'm going to rent one, but I got to figure out a way to do it. So one night my mom's like, hey, let's go get a horror movie, you know, that kind of thing. And my mom was kind of big into tanning. So she's like, go ahead and pick out a movie, take it up here. When I come out of tanning, you know, we'll go. And I was like, all right, cool. So I had to be probably about 10 years old. She's in there tanning. I'm on the other side. She just tells me, you know, this is parenting in the 80s and 90s. I was just left by myself in the video store, which wasn't the first or only time. That happened a lot. But I'm over on the video store side looking while my mom's tanning. And I thought, this is my opportunity to rent one of those movies out of the adult section. So I thought, you know, when nobody was looking, I would run in. So I ran in, and the first one I could reach, because I was kind of shorter and I couldn't reach like some of them, like Lunch Meat, stuff like that, but I could reach Cannibal Campout. So I remember jumping up and grabbing the box and the tape that was behind it, because in this store you had to grab the clear clamshell behind it. I already did, Joe. I'm sorry. You missed it. But yeah, like you had to grab the clamshell out of the back behind the box. So I remember I jumped and I grabbed both of them, and then I had to jump and throw the Cannibal Campout box back up there. I was scared to death because I wasn't supposed to be in this room. But I was like, I got to grab it and get out, and my mom won't know that I got out of this room and that kind of thing. And she didn't see the box and stuff. So I grabbed the tape for Cannibal Campout, and I held on to it until my mom got out of that tanning salon. And I think I grabbed some other horror movie that was like something somewhat generic, so that I could kind of pair them together and it wasn't so noticeable, just in case like the lady behind the counter, you know, asked like, hey, did you get this out of that room? I'd be like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. So I think I got like something like probably Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 or Part 3, something like that. And mom's like, did you pick anything out? I said, sure. I gave her those. We went up to the register. The girl behind, I mean, the girl, now that I look back at it, had to be like a teenager or something. But you know, as a kid, you think they're so much older. So, but it had to be like a teenager. She didn't care. Me, as a kid, I'm working myself up like I'm going to jail if I get caught with this tape. You know, because anything, as a kid, anything in that room was like off limits. You know, like this was horror, but it was like violent, like gory horror that I'd never seen before on the cover. So I thought at that age, I'm going to jail or something. So I'm sweating to death. But, you know, now you look back at it and you go, this girl is just, you know, whatever. You know, like she's just hanging out and like doing her job. So she doesn't care. Obviously, she didn't care. She rented the movie. I remember going home and I watched Cannibal Campout at like 10 years old with my mom in the living room. And I've watched it a million times since then. It's actually kind of like has a special place in my heart. But it's not a good movie. It's really not a good movie. It's really bad. But I remember as a kid, that stigma of it coming out of that room that I wasn't supposed to go into just built it up so much, and just made it so much more than it was. And I remember being scared to death of Cannibal Campout. But I will say that when I was a kid, you know, now you watch these like cheap shot on video horror movies and stuff, and you can really tell that they're cheap and crappy and horrible. When you're like 10, 12 years old and you're watching a VHS tape of these things, the VHS tape's already fuzzy. Everything's already built up so much in your head as a kid. I didn't think it was that bad. Like as a kid, I didn't think it was that cheap. I didn't think it was that bad. So as a kid, in my defense, it didn't seem that cheap or that crappy. If you watch it now, sure. But you had to be in the moment. But yeah, that experience is something that I could only get at a mom and pop store because, like I said, you didn't see everything was censored in the big stores. So mom and pop, like, there's just so many things that at a mom and pop store you could get or do that you couldn't anywhere else. That literally makes it so unique. And that's what's appealing to me and why I want to make this documentary, because where else do you go in to your dad gets gas, you get like a 2-liter Pepsi and like a Red Bear and pepperoni pizza out of the fridge or the freezer section of the little mom and pop store. You see the girl that is like a year older than you go to school with, her mom's behind the counter, you rent Pumpkinhead, and then like and you get it off a tag off a nail. Like, there's nothing like that. And I mean, unfortunately, there never will be again. You know, I tell my kids about this all the time, and it blows their mind because it just, you know, if you're my age or you're around your 30s or older or even late 20s, you know, you can remember video stores for the most part, how they were. You can remember mom and pop stores for the most part. But trying to tell somebody that's never went through that or experienced it, it's like mind blowing. Like it's crazy. So, you know, with this documentary, I want to cover those things. I want to cover those stories. I want to cover those, to me, important things that I know shape my life, shape other people's lives. And, I mean, it's something that I grew up on and I believe people's stories, need to be told. People want to hear them. I think just the whole inner workings of how mom and pop video stores work and the experiences and the memories and everything, because it honestly transcends more than just renting movies. You built relationships in these places. You become friends with these people. You might have worked at these places, you know, and they deserve it because actually they're all shut down for the most part. I mean, you might have little pop-up ones here and there, but I mean, they went out. They're gone. You know, most of the stores that rented tapes were bought out by bigger corporations and are not even owned by the same people anymore. And like, they did a huge service to the community. They did a huge service to film fans, you know, movie fans, horror fans, and I think they deserve their time in the spotlight just as much as the last blockbuster, you know. But yeah, I mean, I kind of went on a long rant there. I think I talked for like 20 minutes straight. But I mean, what are some of the memories that you guys have? Because I know 99.9% of every one of you guys rented from mom and pop video stores, had experiences at these stores. You know, tell me about some experiences you guys have had. If you're bored, there are 3 days left on our campaign, and we are in our stretch goal territory. We're currently at 118% of our goal, so we met our 5,500, which is great. We're at $6,540. Awesome. So we met our first stretch goal, which was 6,500, which made the free theme song available for everybody, so you guys can download the theme song and I think the second song we put up there. We do have some merch available with more coming soon. if we hit the next stretch goal, which is 7,500, which I don't know if we will, but we'll have slammers and pogs available, and everybody that contributes $10 or more will get a free poster with the artwork that Matt Graves is doing if we hit that 7,500 goal. So very cool. I'm excited about it. I don't know. Like, I know I've got so many messages about people that have, you know, they're happy that this is being talked about and excited for the product. And I am too. And I appreciate every one of you guys that have, you know, donated, you know, financially donated, shared posts, you know, just gave words of encouragement. I mean, that's awesome. Like, I can't say enough about how awesome it is that people have confidence that I'm going to do a good job with this. That means a lot because, you know, I am setting out to do a good job. I'm setting out to do an amazing experience. You know, a lot of people say, hey, we got to keep this movie to an hour and a half. No, like, I'm not going in with any kind of time frame on how long this movie is going to be. We're going to give the mom and pop experience its full best run. We're going to talk about it. There's a few things that are probably going to get emotional, which is great because I do think there were some emotional experiences. We've got some amazing people lined up to be interviewed in this film and be a part of this. People that really help shape the indie video store scene, and get those movies on there like Truth or Dare and Video Violence and stuff like that. Like, movies that you did not see in the big stores. You only see them in mom and pop. So we're going to talk to those guys that made those movies. See, like, what was it like seeing your movie in a store? Why did you only be able to put it in these stores? Stuff like that. We're going to talk to the people that had these stores, that shared these experiences, that shaped and molded, you know, fans of movies. And what it was like to own the stores in its heyday, in its high success, and what it was like, you know, after, like when it dropped and it just, you know. And, you know, I've said this several times, but I want to know why so many tanning salons had video stores, because there were so many. You know, that's something I want to ask, like, why? But we're going to go back to a lot of the old locations of video stores that I actually frequented, and see where they're at now. You know, we're going to go interview people on our road trip, and we're going to talk about their favorite video stores. Then we're going to go to where those video stores were and see, like, is the building still there? What is it now? Has it been turned into a restaurant? You know, that kind of thing. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm stoked about it. I can't wait. It's going to be exciting. I'll tell you what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to make a movie that will make everybody happy. I'm not trying to make a movie for other people, because honestly, I think that's one of the hardest things you can do, is make a movie trying to satisfy other people. I want everybody to be happy with it, but as a video store fan, I'm a huge video store fan. I love them. You know, I love video stores, have forever. And, you know, even more so a VHS fan and a horror fan and all that stuff. I want to set out to make a documentary that I would love. That I would watch, I would get teary-eyed, I would get emotional, I would get nostalgic. Because I feel like, you know, when I am talking experiences, a lot of people have the same experiences I did. And I think if I make a movie that I genuinely enjoy and is meaningful to me, that it will be meaningful to others. I mean, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to make the best product that I can, and put out the best product that people would dig and that I would dig. And, you know, I am my own, I know a lot of people say this, but I am my own worst critic. So I'm going to beat myself up a million times over this. I'm going to do everything I can to make it great. I have an amazing assistant director in Cagney Larkin, who is like, if I start to kind of wander off in one direction, he'll keep my vision the right way, you know, keep me in the right lane, which is great. I have the awesome Timothy Ash, who, you know, helps me with Spooky Boys on Universe Retro. He's going to be there to kind of really help us out. You know, if we need help with equipment, if we need help with mics, if we need help with contacting people while we're on the road, you know, he's really donating his time and efforts to, you know, be able to make sure that all the stuff's getting handled so that I can keep my mind on, you know, talking to these people and getting these experiences and these emotions out so that then Cagney can film it and light it and just make it look nice. Because I mean, this is a passion project for me. This is a dream project for me. I'm just so stoked and happy and appreciative of everybody that's donated that I'm able to do this. When I made this Indiegogo, I thought, you know, I planned out everything. I tried to go cheap on everything, and I was like, this would be amazing to do. I'm going to go for it. I made the Indiegogo with the thought in my mind that I'm going to leave it up to fate. If it hits its goal, I get to do this. And obviously if it doesn't, I don't. That's why I did an all or nothing campaign. So that if it hit the goal, I made it. If it didn't hit the goal, you know, that was how much I needed to make the project that I felt I could do the best with. So yeah, I left it up to fate, and lo and behold, with the support of a lot of you, we got it there. So I'm pumped. I've been talking for 30 minutes. I mean, I'm not going to keep you guys any longer. I appreciate you. We've got 3 days left in the campaign. I'm done, you know, like trying for money. I'm very happy with where we're at. Obviously more money would be great. I wouldn't be mad at more money. Feel free to donate more. Grab you a perk, because I will say this, the perks that are on there, they're not going to be available after the perks. These are only perks that are made for this campaign. The VHS sold out. The DVDs are only going to be available through here, because afterwards we might try to have some kind of distribution, and it might have like some official release that way or something. You know, so you're going to have to get it that way. So if you want a DVD, that's the way you do it. Same thing with the pink audio cassettes, the soundtrack CD, and the vinyl soundtrack. Like, that's, if you want to get that, you need to donate. That's the only way you're going to get it. That's the only ones we're making. So, but like I said, if you don't want any of those perks, don't feel like you have to donate. We've hit our goal. I appreciate it. More money would be great, but I mean, it's up to you. If you want to be in the documentary, we do have spots available still. We want people interested to be in the documentary. It is a $100 perk. The reason being, it helps us with our goal, and it helps with travel if we can get out to you. Obviously, some places we just cannot get to you. I know a lot of you guys we are coming out to. We're driving out to Georgia and Tennessee and stuff like that. And that little bit of a perk helps us get there. So I do appreciate that. But yeah, unless you guys got anything else, I'm gonna shut up and jump off of here. The link to contribute is in the main post. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, obviously it's not live, but please feel free to drop a comment if you got any questions or comments or anything related to this video or anything else. Please do so. You know, if you see this video after I'm done being live, still comment. I can still comment back to you. We have a Twitter. It's Mom and Pop Doc. If you just look up that. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/Mom and Pop Doc. Like I said, the Indiegogo campaign is in the description or the main post. And yeah, there's been a lot of stuff announced on the Facebook page. Please follow and like it. There's all kind of like announcements we've made of people that are going to be in it. We have some amazing things that we have not announced yet. Some amazing people that are going to be in the film that are not announced yet. We're going to be going live when we start filming. Our first official filming will be, I think it's July 10th and 11th. We'll be in South Carolina at Southeast Game Exchange. We're going to be interviewing a lot of really cool people, including the creator of Echo the Dolphin, X-Men, and X-Men 2 on Sega Genesis, Vector Man, stuff like that. But we'll be out there. We'll be talking to a lot of really cool YouTubers, some really popular YouTubers about the video game side of it. I'm sure they'll talk about like movies too, but really trying to get the video games rental side of it that weekend. So that'll be our first official weekend. We'll come back. We'll be back for like 2 weeks. And then we go on our 8-day road trip where we literally are going 3,000 miles to New York, Pittsburgh, you know, all around Maine. And then we come back. We're back for 10 days. And then we go to LA for a week. So, and then we've got, man, I think then we're back for like a week or two. And then we go to Bad Monster Party Expo, which is going to be pretty nuts. So, very exciting. It's going to be great. I can't wait. We're going to be going live a lot while we're filming and inviting you guys in some behind the scenes stuff. And it's going to be great. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Absolutely 100% a dream project that I couldn't do without the support of you guys. So, I mean, honestly, thank you. You're giving me the opportunity to do this dream project, and I can't thank you enough. So, thank you. Donate if you want to. Like the page. Do all that kind of stuff. And thank you for the support. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's it. So, see you guys next time.